Today, we're swapping out the factory grease on the Flex XFE 712 3-inch mini polisher. It's a free-spinning 12mm random orbital polisher. It removes swirls and scratches on tight areas and on curvy areas such as bumpers and coming up against character lines. This has the switch trigger on the side of the unit, which some do not like whatsoever. Bumping it may turn it off. I've never had a problem with it, especially the way I hold it, and it really doesn't bump up against anything I've ever used it on. It's a foot long, a little over a foot long, 5 inches from the backing plate to the top of the handle, and somewhere around 4.5 pounds, which is a full pound lighter than the full-size rotary and some of the DA polishers. The polisher has a microprocessor on board, controls soft start, temperature monitoring and control, and increased airflow for cooling of the motor and the gear. Okay, so first off, we're going to remove the 3-inch or the 75mm Velcro hook and loop backing plate. That will reveal one of two counterbalances, one on this end and one on the other end towards the main drive gear. We're going to have to take off the soft grip casing around the gearbox so we can get to it. And that's going to only be 3 21mm panhead hex screws. Those are self-tappers because we're only holding together two pieces of plastic. Okay, with those three removed, we only have two more items to take away before we can slide off the soft grip. And those are the two plastic threaded caps where you could place the handle on either side depending on your grip. Be careful. Again, plastic threaded, don't cross thread. Anytime you're separating the plastic casing on these polishers, just do it slowly. You never know if there's a wire that is attached to the side of the unit on the side of the plastic, either by some sort of a plastic clamp or clip or even adhesives. So you can see the soft grip. This is a rubber grip, maybe 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters thick on top of the plastic. Reinforced plastic only by the ribs inside for structure, and we have 4 more panhead hex screws to remove 20mm. This will get us inside the gearbox where we can swap out the factory grease. Please forgive the camera work. I'm trying to keep the polisher in the middle of the frame while I'm doing this as well. Makes it look a little bit clumsy, but we're almost there. We're going to be able to crack this open, get to the gearbox, flip it over, and inspect the spindle gear. Make sure the gears aren't chipped or wearing towards the ends. No force needed here, guys, just a little bit of a wiggle. It'll give way. You can slowly pull it away. You're going to have grease attached to the gears. We're going to clean that out the best we can with the rag. And then grab the Citral 266, spray it in there, and clean out all the excess grease and whatever shavings may be in there. Make it perfectly clean and pack it tight. Then we'll grab the Wolf's Head. This is a lithium complex red grease. It's for automotive use. We use it here in the shop around wheel bearings and around brake systems. It's high temperature rated, water resistant, again approved for round disc brakes and drum brakes. This is the stuff we reserve here at the shop for heavier equipment, trucks, tractors, trailers, steering linkages, disc drum brakes, wheel bearings, and etc. If it's good enough to handle all that stuff, you don't have to worry about it when it's in there protecting the polisher. Okay, so let's get this end here of the polisher back together, and then we'll take the casing off the other end, which will reveal the electronical parts and the PCB board and the switches and all the other sensors. While putting it back together, you're not going to see me cranking down any of these screws, even with all the vibration that the polisher will produce. You won't have to crank it down. Just snug it tight, you'll be fine. Careful with the plastic threads on the cap, guys. I put both caps on. I don't use the handle on either side. I just like to put some firm pressure on top of the unit from the rubber grip. Alright, so with the business end back together, let's hop to the other end of the unit. That's the brains, the control of the polisher, only held on by one screw back here. Again, another panhead hex screw. We're going to take that off, and it just slides back through the cord. The casing slides on there rather firm, so just be careful taking that off, because again, you never know if there's a wire attached to the side of the casing. I've already had one where I slid it off and detached a wire. Just adds more work to your project. Here are the carbon brushes. Again, you'd have to slide the casing back to replace those, and that reveals all the other electronics. The 6-speed switch here is attached to the motherboard, or the PCB, which is covered with Humicoat, rather thick, protecting all the components on the motherboard, such as the sensors, from humidity, heat, and dust. Last but not least, below the switch here is located a simple little 2-slot relay box. Okay, let's slide the cover, the casing back on, replace the screw. We'll get this thing running. For those that aren't familiar with the polisher, I'll get it running, go through the speeds, show you the switches. I'm also going to put a link down below of the polisher in use doing some real-world work. You're going to see that in a lot of my videos from a month or two back. I use it heavily. It's a great unit. Okay, so we have it together. Let's power up the unit. We're going to turn on the switch here. That powers it on. We have the speed dial back here. Always take it back to the first speed, speed number 1. Power up the unit. You can go through your speeds from there. If you bump it while it's in the highest speed and turn off or switch off the unit, simply turn your dial back to the first speed setting, power up the unit again. We have soft start. It's a soft start unit. If the temperature gets too hot, the power will cut off. It's also going to regulate the oscillation under load and make sure it gives you a nice smooth ride across the panel. 450 watts will give you plenty of power for 3 inches. However, it is a free spinning unit. It's not a direct drive, only oscillation, so if you get up against some really hard curves or tight corners, it could stall. Alright guys, so as we wrap up this video, I'll put a link down below for the Wolf's Head. I'm completely comfortable once I had that factory grease out of there, and that's not saying that Flex uses a cheap grease. I just feel more comfortable with the Wolf's Head in there. It's high temp rated for around braking systems. The braking systems can reach in excess of 1500 degrees and higher on heavier vehicles. Polisher will never reach that. It also fights moisture, so I feel comfortable and at ease when that's swapped out and that's in there. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you in the next video.